Hello and welcome to the Fit to Transform podcast, where you learn how to train and diet effectively and, most importantly, how to maintain those results for life, once and for all. I'm Nikias Tomasiello, a transgender training and nutrition coach working online with anyone who's ready for a true lifestyle transformation, anywhere they may be in the world. As a friendly reminder, any and all information provided is for educational purposes only. You should consult with your doctor before implementing any changes to your diet and exercise program. With that disclaimer out of the way, thank you for being here. Now grab yourself a cup of tea or pre-workouts and enjoy. Yo, welcome back to the podcast and thank you for tuning into this solo episode about gymtimidation or gym anxiety. I was inspired to record this episode because not only do I work with several clients whose initial goal was to overcome it, but also recently I've been putting up a weekly question box for people to ask me their questions on Instagram, and almost every time I've received a question about overcoming gym anxiety. So I think this topic is pretty relevant, and I hope that you get a lot out of this episode, as I've put together 9 suggestions to help you overcome gym anxiety. Suggestion number 1 is pretty obvious considering that I'm a coach, but it is very important, and it's that nothing makes you more confident than having a plan and having a coach, because the combination of knowing exactly what to do as well as knowing that a professional who knows their shit is telling you exactly what to do is going to give you an immediate confidence boost. Because you're not going to second guess yourself. All you need to do is execute, and that takes a lot of mental energy out of the whole process of stepping into the gym. In addition to that, if you have to check in with somebody about whether or not you showed up for your goals, you're much more likely to do it, even if you have to drag yourself to the gym on the first few sessions. If you're on your own, good luck staying accountable to yourself. It's a lot harder if you struggle with anxiety. And I'm saying that because of all the clients that I've worked with who suffered with gym anxiety at the start of coaching, there hasn't been a single one who I've not managed to help get to the gym and actually enjoy it over time. It's going to be a process. You can't expect that overnight a coach will help you overcome your anxiety, but it's so much easier if you have their support at your side. My recommendation would be, depending on your needs, start with either online coaching or in-person sessions with a trainer. You can start online if you're already well acquainted with the gym. For example, you used to be very active, but now maybe because of an injury or because of your lifestyle or whatever reason it may be, you haven't trained in a long time. And what intimidates you is picking things back up, but you already know your way around the gym. In this case, a plan plus accountability via online coaching is usually enough. You don't actually need a coach's physical presence with you. Whereas if you're newer, or if you need someone there with you in the flesh, whether you're more advanced or less advanced, then in person would be better to begin with. And it's more expensive than online coaching is, but it can give you that little push that you need right now. And if you start with in-person training, you can either continue with it if you realize that that's your preference, because online coaching isn't necessarily everybody's favorite mode of coaching, or you can switch to online coaching, which tends to be more budget-friendly, usually within 1 to 6 months, depending on you as a person. My second suggestion is to consider starting from home. And I've taken this approach with many a client very successfully, whereby instead of throwing them into the gym, we would start with a home-based training program. And then when you muster up more confidence, start with a single session at the gym. And then slowly increase the gym to home session ratio until you're doing as many gym sessions as you want to do, with the rest, if any, at home. And if you take this approach, then my recommendation for your one session to do at the gym would be a session involving lower body exercises, because unless you're willing to buy essentially the equivalent of a commercial gym for your home, most people don't have the necessary equipment to train their legs successfully at home once they've been training for 2 to 3 months, because they're going to get a lot stronger than their dumbbells allow them to train. It's a little bit different if you're willing to invest into a barbell with around 80 to 100 kilograms of additional weight, so that you have 100 to 120 kilograms of total weight if you get a proper Olympic bar that weighs 20 kilos. And even so, in order to best develop your legs, you would still want to have access to the gym. So when you transition from home training to gym training, the first session I would perform at the gym would include your lower body, if not be a straight up complete lower body session. My third suggestion is specific to gender diverse people, and it's to email management about the changing rooms and toilet situation ahead of time. This is something I did when I came out socially, but I wasn't on testosterone yet, so I still presented as as female. I had a feminine presentation. Essentially, I looked like a girl. And I joined this gym for the first time, and I really didn't want to have to change in the women's toilet or locker rooms rather. So I emailed management, and they were really kind to me, really respectful, and they let me know that they didn't have a gender neutral toilet, but offered for me to change in the staff room if I wanted to. I decided against that because they also let me know that they were renovating and they would have a locker, a set of lockers available outside the changing rooms for anyone to use. So what I ended up doing was I would change at home. I would go to the gym, leave my backpack in the lockers that were on the gym floor outside the changing rooms. So I would never go into the changing room. I would get my workout done, go back home, and that's when I would shower and change. And that's something that you can do as well, whether your gym has these external lockers or not. You can show up already dressed and then shower at home. So you don't need to worry about emailing management if you don't feel safe about doing that. My fourth suggestion is to break the ice with a friend. Even if your friend can't be your long term workout partner, because maybe your schedules don't match that well, if you have someone with you for at least your very first gym visit, it can be extremely helpful to soothe your nerves. Alternatively, you can check if your gym offers visits called inductions. An induction is a free tour of the gym with one of the personal trainers that the gym employs. And this personal trainer is going to show you the machines and how they work. I used to do that when I was working as an employed personal trainer at the beginning of my career, whereby on a shift, I might have someone book in their induction. So I would greet them at the door. I would ask them about their name, a little bit about themselves, just strike up a friendly conversation to help them feel a little bit more at ease. I would take them around the gym, show them all of the machines, show them the weight room with the free weights, ask or rather answer any questions that they had, help them have a go with some of the machines. Sometimes I would help them try an easy workout with 2 or 3 exercises, one for the chest, one for the back, and one for the lower body, just to give them a sense of what working out was like if they were completely new and they really didn't know where to start. So that's something that you can look into at your own local gym. And even if you don't end up working out on the day of your induction, that still counts as breaking the ice, and you're going to feel a lot more ready for your first actual workout because now you know where everything is and how to use it. Suggestion number 5 is if you start comparing yourself and you feel like everyone's better than you, newsflash, yes, they are better than you. But we all had our first super awkward day at the gym, including all those people that you right now are thinking are better than you. And I'll tell you my own story. I'm a qualified personal trainer, but I started out like everybody else. I knew absolutely nothing. For my first workout, all I did was some bicep curls and then a little bit of a run on the treadmill. The bicep curls took me a total of 5 minutes, and then I ran on the treadmill and I went home. And that was the end of my workouts. I felt incredibly awkward. I only did bicep curls because I really didn't know what to do in terms of resistance training. That's when I decided I actually like this lifting weights, but I need to look into it because I don't know what other exercises even exist. I felt so uncomfortable. I felt like everybody was staring at me, and I just wanted to do it because I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed the feeling of curling those little dumbbells. It felt so different from what I put myself through for so many years because I'm reminiscing about 2018. No, not even 2018. It must have been 2016 at this point. That's when I did this workout. And technically, it wasn't my first resistance training workout because previously, as a teenager, when I was about 15, I went to the gym for a year and I was given one of those cookie cutter programs by the trainer employed there to do with resistance machines. But I don't really count that as my initiation to lifting weights, even if it technically was, just because I never used free weights. I never really pushed myself. I kind of just did a round of the machines and that was it. I don't even know what it was really. I didn't see any results whatsoever. Whereas when I did those few sets of bicep curls, I felt like I was really, for the first time, thinking about it as lifting actual weights, like doing resistance training. And it was so different from the grueling cardio that I used to put myself through, because at this time I was still struggling with disordered eating and I was still recovering really mentally from the eating disorder I suffered from since I was a teenager. So I was really enjoying it, and that was a first for me. I never enjoyed exercise before, but I was also fighting so much anxiety. And I probably looked like I didn't know what I was doing, which was true, because, well, what would you think if you saw somebody walk into the gym, do some bicep curls, and then go over to the treadmills and be done with it? They don't know what they're doing, right? But then again, also think about it from this perspective. Nobody is actually checking you out from the moment you walk into the gym to the moment you walk out. Nobody likely actually thought that I didn't know what I was doing. Only I did, because only I was present with myself from the moment I walked into the gym to the moment I walked out. So in my mind's eye, I was super awkward and everybody was better than me, but nobody really was paying attention to me. So yes, you are going to have a very awkward first time in the gym, but everybody does. And the only way to get better is to keep going. And I had that first experience in 2016. I didn't go back to proper resistance training until 2018. But ever since 2018, I've been training regularly for going on 6 years at this point. So I certainly overcame my gym anxiety, and so can you. Suggestion number 6 is to avoid using intimidating language, because guess what? It's only going to make you feel even more intimidated than you already are. For example, a client of mine kept referring to the weight room as, in quotation marks, the gym bro zone, and they consider gym bros to be intimidating. They use this word to define somebody who is usually male presenting, a man who looks really muscular and big and who's lifting a lot of weight, maybe making a lot of noises like grunts and groans, and maybe they're scowling as well because they are putting so much effort and so much hard work into their training. And this type of person can seem intimidating, and it feels intimidating to these particular clients, but by using this term, they were making their anxiety worse, because every time they looked at the weight room, they thought of it as the place where they would be confronted with all these people that they found intimidating. So I suggested to them to simply use neutral terms like the weight room, where the free weights are. That's it. And also, I want to give a quick speech about the so called gym bros because I'm one of them at this point. And I can tell you that most of them are super friendly. I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm not going to say that every gym bro is amazing. Of course not. Just like not every person is amazing. But I find that a lot of people are really intimidated by them and speak about them in negative terms. And some of these people might actually have had negative experiences, and I'm really sorry about that. But I think other people may only feel that way without having actually met so called gym bros because of the way they look and because of all the noises that they make. And I've spoken to many other gym bros like me, and we love the gym. We love to see you there too. And most of us just grunt and groan and make a ton of noise and slam weights because we're training really fucking hard, man. So of course it takes a lot of effort, but the majority of the people that I've met at the gym, whether they were gym bros or gym broettes or gym NBs or whoever they might have been, just wanted to get on with their own workout. And if they saw somebody else who looked a little bit newer, they were just happy for them to be there. Unless it's like 5 o'clock and everybody's there, you just want to get your workout done and there are 1,000 people, then maybe at that point the happiness isn't quite there. But I mean, who is happy about that, right? Suggestion number 7 is to understand that you are going to compare yourself to others. And this is normal and human. But make sure that you have a sense of humor about it instead of letting it bring you down. For example, this is a common thought among my clients. Everyone lifts heavier than me. All right, give it a humorous spin. If everybody's lifting heavier than you, which may or may not be the truth, this means they're gonna take forever to unload their equipment. Dude, I'm 5 foot tall. I'm strong for my size, but even so, there are plenty of people who, simply because they are a lot bigger than me, since the average height for AFAB people is 5'5" in the UK, and the average height for AMAB people is 5'10", I'm like almost a whole foot shorter than the average dude. So just because they're so much bigger than me, they are going to be able to lift heavier. If I let the thought that so many other people can lift more than I can, even if I've been training for 6 years, hold me back, I wouldn't have been this consistent for 6 years, let me tell you that. So have a sense of humor about it if you find yourself comparing yourself to others in a negative way. And that's a good segue into suggestion number 8, which is stop taking yourself so goddamn seriously. Yes, you're going to make mistakes. Yes, you're going to look silly. And to prove that point, I'm going to tell you a story of my own. At this point, I was already a qualified trainer. So you would expect that I would know my way around the gym because I got qualified when I'd been training for a year. So I've been working out for a year by lifting weights specifically, and I was going 5 times per week. So you would think he knows exactly everything there is to know about the vast majority of the most common machines you'll find at the gym, right? Well, apparently he was wrong because one day I approached the lower body machines. I jumped on a machine. I was ready to do my leg extensions. I set myself up. And all of a sudden I was like, dude, this machine works in the opposite way. And I realized that I was actually sitting on the leg curl instead of the leg extension. So I was completely wrong. I probably blushed very deeply. Of course, nobody gave a shit. Only I did. But I felt so embarrassed. I was like, dude, look at me. But you know what I did? I just laughed at myself because it was fucking funny. And again, you don't need to take this so seriously. It's literally just the gym. It's just working out. If you like it, then it should be something that you enjoy. And if you don't like it, it's something that you want to do for your health. So don't sour it by making it more serious than it really needs to be. And that brings me to my final suggestion for this podcast, which is suggestion number 9. Counteract negative thoughts with logical questions, because often anxiety leads us to develop really nonsensical thoughts, which, if we gave them enough time to sink in, we would think, oh, this is ridiculous. I don't actually think this way. But because the anxiety is clouding our brain, we can't think about that in the moment. However, if you manage to respond to those illogical thoughts with logical questions, it can really help calm yourself down. For example, an illogical thought you might have is, everyone knows what they're doing except for me. And so some logical questions you can respond to that with are, or includes, is that factually true? Is it possible that of all the gym members that you can see right now and all the gym members that are not attending the gym right this moment, you are the only newbie who doesn't know their machines from their free weights? And let's assume that this was the case, which I highly doubt. How long has everyone else been training compared to you? Because guess what? If they've been training longer, of course they know what they're doing and you don't, because they have experience that you don't have, which is a way to circle back to what I was saying before, where the only way to get better is to actually do it. And that's a wrap for today's episode. And I got quite passionate about this because I love it when a client who at the beginning of their journey was really scared about the gym finally accepts my challenge to do at least one gym workout, and afterwards they message me, or if I'm training them in person, they'll tell me, you know what, this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I actually enjoyed myself. That is one of the best feelings that I have experienced in my career as a coach. And I want you to experience the feeling that you get of being a true badass for taking this big step and overcoming your fears and feeling like you're on top of the world and you're the strongest person ever. And you deserve to feel that way. You deserve to belong in the gym and to take up space in the gym. So I really hope that these suggestions help you out today. And if you know somebody who struggles with gym anxiety, send them this podcast. It helps me and it's going to help them. And if you or your friend want to reach out to me, please do so. I have an email address that you can email. That's fit2transform@gmail.com. You can DM me on Instagram at Nikias, my name, Nikias _fit2transform. You can message me through the message box on my website. There are so many ways that you can get in touch with me, and I am super friendly and looking forward to talking to you. Even if you don't want to work with me, I really enjoy when a podcast listener reaches out to me. I make time for everyone, and I really appreciate that you tuned in for this episode and for however many other episodes you will decide to listen to. And if you do want to work with me, you can also fill out the application form in the show notes, and I will get back to you within 72 hours to schedule your complimentary consultation. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Lastly, if you want to support the podcast and help me reach more people, please leave a 5-star rating or review on any podcast platform that you're using. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.